What's up, Jim from Technovault. In this video, I'm going to show you reverse bass kicks for techno. These are being used more and more. They have some hardstyle character, and obviously the most famous tune of all for that is Creed Push-Up. Same feeling. And obviously it's not 100% the same. It's hard to recreate sounds, but you can hear a thumpy kick and then being followed by a reverse bass like wompy wom wom type bass. I'm going to show you how to make everything like this from scratch and some secret techniques you don't really see in other videos. So if you want to make better techno, connect with other techno producers, join our Discord link below. We also have a leveling system in place. So if you chat more, you level up, you get gift cards, you can get free sample packs, whatever. It's really nice. Also, you can get the template that I'm making today from scratch for free with the link below, and let's get right into it. So this is what we're making. And once you have it down, you're able to actually make a bunch of different kicks as well, because I'm going to show you how to do it from scratch. And once you have the chain in place, it's easy to change stuff and make it sound better. So let's start off with our top kick sound. How you make top kicks in Serum is very simple. You open Serum, randomization down, envelope, make this very short so you kind of have this attack to it, you know, like this. Add it to the coarse pitch, this sound, and an envelope 3, similar, but then add it here as well. Let's get that into the mixer. Just gonna make sure everything is there so I can just make it start clean. So now we have this sound, right? This beginning sound. What I want to do is maybe make it a little bit shorter. And why I'm making it shorter as well, if we put it on auto, as you can see, going from resample, it's just gonna increase the pitch. But if you put it on auto, it tries to keep the same pitch, right? And that's great because it's gonna change the waveform. And as you can see, you get a very thumpy kick. Like that. So this might be a little bit too high, so I go back in Serum. And instead of playing an F, I'm going to play a different note. And you can render it out here, and we see. Let's play with this sound. So this is our punch. To make the punch more thumpy, we're going to add a transient shaper and add some attack. And then we're going to add an inflator or a wave shaper. Doesn't really matter. You can add a wave shaper on sine mode, sine, half sine, and then open it up. You can hear the difference real quick. It's going to get that thumpy character. Same with the inflator if we open that inflator. So pretty nice. We're going to add a little bit of soft clipping. And the most important part is clipping or distortion. So a free plugin you can use is Distortion 2. As you can hear, you get that like nice distorted sound, but what you need to do is kind of remove the highs a little bit and kind of move the EQ in front of it to create a nice character. You EQ it, distort it, get a sound, and then you clean up the sound like this. And the mid-range has quite some nice character, like an airy feeling, right? So now we have our clip kick, and it sounds from this to that. And let's just start off with this sound and we can blend it later. So for our reverse bass sound, we're gonna use Serum as well. I just make sure that my randomization is down so I get the same crunch each time. So it always starts at the same place in the waveform. And one that sounds really, really good is the waveform that's called B-sod square. You get a squarey sound, but it's you get some variations, right? So let's put this on -2. And instead of rendering out this sound, we're just going to place down our pattern like this. We're going to place down a note. So let's make one in F or in G. I mean, reverse bass kicks are most of the time kind of like in a higher pitch range. So obviously we want to kind of represent an offbeat bass, and something like this usually works, and we just make it look like that. So we kind of have this wompy feeling, but we also want a little bit of introduction into the punch. So this is obviously bad because we have our punch first and we're going to sidechain it, but you want a very smooth transition between the punch and the crunch like that. So now LFO1, instead of putting it here, envelope, that works. I kind of also want to have sub while this is playing. This is rather than an envelope for volume. This is going to be a filter. So let's put it on German low pass because that's nice and analog. And we put it on the cutoff range from around lows to mids. So just to make sure that it blends properly, I can add this to the level. So we're really not playing because obviously this is a filter. So it's still playing here. It's going to play these frequencies while the punch is playing because we filter it. But now we also added sidechain for the kick. We kind of make that look like this. And now we have this sound, so we can put that next to this thing, and we blend both of these together. So punch and crunch. They go together into one channel. You can add kickstart to the crunch just to make sure that it's not really... Yeah, as you can see, we sidechained it properly. So now I'm gonna need this. In the channel where it goes together, let's just keep it organized, call it kick buzz. And in here, you get to do a few things. So first I had an inflator, and in the previous part, obviously you can use a wave shaper too, but you know, bit of power. Gonna add a soft clipper, and I'm gonna add an EQ. EQ is very important because want to have some highs and make it sound nice and bright, but if you already have a bright sound, take down the highs, you know? Then you can really blend and mold the mids. You get different kicks, so if you get this down, you're gonna let the mids breathe. You get that character, but if you boost it, you're gonna get more sub. So find something that sounds nice and just make the EQ look flat. So if I add an EQ afterwards, you can see it gets more flat and flat each time. Difference, you know? Then you need to get into distortion. So again, you can use distortion too and just distort the whole kick a bit. Anything around this range is pretty good, but you want to find a range that works for you, and you don't want to distort it too much because that's obviously like hardstyle territory. But here's the trick. Instead of using distortion 2, it's time for you to maybe get a nice tube distortion, amp modeled type distortion, something that's modeled against analog distortion plugins, pedals, and systems. So one that's really good is Decapitator by Sound Toys. It has a lot of nice modeling modes right here, A, E, and TP. I don't know which one they are, but they're very nice. So that's how you get that really nice analog drive to it, just to adding this, you know. You can also try this, you know. I like the crunch that this generates, and I might add another one on A. And then we add some EQ in front. And with this one, we can maybe add some automation. So you can automate the mids, right? I loaded up an EQ. I just select a mid range like this, like a band. I select a band. I have that move. As you can see, if I go up, this moves. So I'm going to automate this one. And then we're going to have, let me just detach this so you can see what happens. I'm just going to have this move open during the kick. So obviously in my crunch on the half time to make it a reverse bass, I'm just going to make it look like that. Then we can have it hit different places. Nice. That sounds pretty good. So we can maybe work with this. Another plugin that's pretty good is Waves BB Tubes, I think. It's another tube amp, whatever model. It sounds really nice, especially on vocals, but we can just see what happens if we load up a Magma BB Tubes instead of the Decapitator. So. As you can hear, you get all these different sounds. So then if you go back in Serum, because we made the whole chain, you can then tweak the sound. You can change this sound as well by changing the warp mode. Or drive. Maybe add some distortion in Serum. And we can go back into the punch and change envelope 2, for example. And see. Different punch. You know, and then you can go back in Serum again. Just maybe reduce this and make this longer. And then well, this key doesn't obviously work that well, so just keep tweaking inside until you find something that works. But make sure that it's around 1/4 note for the kick right here. So a thing that you could do is use a few drum one-shots. So for example, a hat. on top of this, you need to do it properly. Tweak it later. If you add that on top, it might improve the kick a little bit, because I noticed that these old kicks, you know, the reverse bass kicks from old times, they have a little bit of a real kicked on feeling to it. Very softly, you know. Obviously, if you have like a real drum kit, you can also find a kick drum from a real kick and just layer that on top if you wanna. So let's see if we find something, boom bap. Yeah, you could use something like that on top of this, but just make sure that you make it, you know, muffle it and fucking remove the blows. You're not really looking for those, you know. Make it look like that and get it into the channel. And we can also widen it up, you know, but as you can see, it's pretty easy to make these kicks as long as you have some analog sounds and the proper blend between the punch and the crunch. So there you go. Download the template for free. If you have any questions, drop them in the comments. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.